The privilege this week on campus of hosting several events, but one was something called the Faith and Justice Summit put on by the Cops and Clergy Network. It wasn't a large conference, but it was a special time bringing together people who are in various government agencies as well as some faith-based agencies. And after I had given a welcome to the group, the Chief of Police of the City of Redlands, Jim Bierman, followed that up by just beginning to talk about Micah House 1 and Micah House 2 and saying it represents something about how city and faith-based organizations can work together. And he began to talk about the history of Micah House, how the city had made available to us a building that they had available because of the programs that we were already involved in. And so Micah House 1 came into being as we provided staff and volunteers to work in after-school programs with kids in a needy part of the area. Talked about how they came back to us because they had a fourplex in another part of the city, a part in which they had the most calls for police service of any area in the city. And this fourplex was available in a variety of ways without going into all the complexities of that. And they came to us and asked us to take the building and extend the program into what became Micah House 2. And then he went on to talk about how that community is different today. It is different because the number of police service calls have dramatically dropped. A number of the social problems that are going on in that part of the community are different. Children are being helped and are being involved after school. Families are being reached. And he talked about a variety of programs and activities and the way in which the presence of Micah House 1 and Micah House 2 have been used, well, he didn't use this terminology, but used by God in His grace to make a real difference in those communities. And as I sat there and listened to them, I couldn't help but have enormous thanks to God. Enormous thanks to God for the people who are part of Trinity, who are part of the volunteer pool, about those who are there doing the significant work of being involved in the lives of kids and spending time, many hours involved, and the opportunity that has to make a difference personally for all kinds of kids and also in the community itself and to change families. You may not know it, but the name Micah House comes not from the fact that my second grandchild is named Micah, and I wanted to enshrine that, but from Micah chapter 6 and verse 8. He's shown you, O man, what is good, and what does the Lord require of you, but to do justice, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. And it is out of that passion that God calls His people to do justice and to love mercy, and to do it in a way that is walking humbly with God. And it is a sense that compassion is embodied in the life of the Lord Jesus. It is who He is. And if we are to be faithful followers of His, we need to be involved in showing the compassion of Christ. That is the impetus on a collective way behind things like Micah House 1 and Micah House 2, behind ministries to disabled adults and children, behind things like the cold weather shelter and taking loft houses down to Mexico, to being involved in feeding programs and in crisis pregnancy programs, a variety of ways and ministries that are part of what we believe God is calling us to collectively and individually to be living out the compassion of the Lord Jesus. It isn't enough just to affirm our faith in the Lord Jesus, because as the Bible reminds us, faith without works is dead. Some of the most